certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rankum. It's going to be a fun one today. We're talking about Will Ferrell movies, and we've got a great panel here. Over here, we've got JD. JD, how's it going?
Going well. Looking forward to talk to Will Ferrell today. I mean, I'm really interested how this is going to go because I feel like there are going to be like 6 movies we're all going to agree on, but then like there's going to be a point in time where it's going to be like, okay, what tack are you going to take, and which tack's going to win out? And I'm kind of intrigued to see how that goes when we get into that second half. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Also, here we got Brian. Brian, how's it going?
It's very good to be back here talking about one of my favorite comedic actors, Will Ferrell, and we'll see what comes up on the list tonight.
Also, here we've got Richie. Richie, how's it going?
Hey, good, bro. Yeah, I'm coming to you on my phone because I don't know. I think my computer's dying. I really need to invest in.
You do that.
Yeah, I'll get a laptop or even an iPad. So, looking forward to it. I think there's a lot to choose from, so it might be hard to whittle it down to the top 12. So we'll see what happens.
And last one but not least, we've got Jordan. Jordan, how's it going?
It's going good, yeah. I'm actually kind of along the lines of JD. I think it'll be about 6 or so we're all going to agree on, and then it's going to be kind of interesting after that to see where people go. But I have a couple personal picks I want to fight for, so we'll see what happens. So.
But JD, I'm going to go to you first. What is the first movie you're going to bring up?
So this is going to be, for my first choice, like Jordan was hitting on earlier, this is a personal choice, but I do think it actually ranks. It's an underrated movie of his. I'm going to choose Megamind. To me, Megamind, I think it's one of his most underrated performances. This role to me single-handedly kind of what made Lord and Miller choose Will Ferrell to play President Business, because everything that he does as President Business, he actually does as Megamind. Like half of that movie, he is like over half of the movie, he's doing really despicable things. Like, no, he's perfectly okay with like killing Brad Pitt's hero at the beginning of the movie. And also he's manipulating like this, Jordan or like, God, what's the guy's name? God,
Richard Joy Hill.
Jonah Hill. He's manipulating
Yeah.
Jonah Hill's character for another part of it, and it takes a very talented actor to kind of make you empathize with a guy who is a straight up villain for like 2/3 of the movie. Like, and the fact you actually care about Megamind, you care about his friendship with David Cross and his henchmen, and you want him to get together with Tina Fey, and he's actually like the more intelligent, like more evenly matched pick with like Tina Fey's like Lois Lane's reporter is amazing. And it also has one of my kind of favorite Will Ferrell bits, the Space Dad bit, which a film earlier this year straight up stole League of Super Pets with Crypto's dad. I'm like, it's an underrated movie, so that's my choice.
Brian, what do you say about Megamind?
I'm going to give it a yes. It's one of my favorite DreamWorks, one of the most underrated DreamWorks films ever made. Actually, it's a great superhero film, sort of like a parody of Superman and such. Not the voice cast Joy Hill as who knew Joy Hill as the villain would be great, and David Cross I quite enjoy as Minion, and I'll give it a yes.
Richie, what do you say about Megamind?
Yeah, I'm actually pleasantly surprised it's brought up this early. Yeah, like I think it's underrated. This movie's it's great. Yeah, I think Will Ferrell's great in it, and yeah, I always encourage people to check out this movie when they're looking for, especially if they're looking for an animated movie. So yeah, like I was expecting him to bring it up sort of later on, but it's kind of cool that JD brought it up now. So I'll say yes.
Jordan, what do you say about Megamind?
Well, it's kind of funny. I think Richard's having a hard time hearing us, so we get to see the inside of his ear every so often.
Keep
So that's
close
fun.
up.
Yeah, extreme close up. That's fine, but for me, I'm not as big of a fan of Megamind. Like, I think it's fine, but I know that my brother, he loves Megamind. They always have it playing. He has 4 kids, and they're all pretty young, so they're always watching Megamind over there. But for me, I just don't have it ranked all that high as far as Will Ferrell movies go. So I'd probably have to say no.
Yeah, I mean, I would have personally suggested Megamind. Megamind's on the list anyway because but I would have personally suggest because like when I've ranked this, and this is one of those lists that I've had on Letterboxd for a long time, so I didn't have to do much to it because I'd already seen his big ones anyway. But yeah, I think Megamind's underrated, and it's I'm surprised it ended up as high as it did on my list, but it's making this list regardless. So Brian was the first movie you're going to bring up.
I'll bring up one of the most obvious ones. I'll bring up Step Brothers. One of my favorite comedies of the 2000s. Love the chemistry between him and John C. Reilly. The comedy is perfect. Especially the whole bed tossing. You parents are hillbillies. I'm going go hammer slap you or something like that. The comedy is great. Love the post host segment. Hilarious. Alan Scott, one of the most underrated comedic villains. Kind of film. So Step Brothers for me.
Richie, what do you say about Step Brothers?
Yeah, well, I'm not like the biggest Step Brothers guy. I'm just not. I'm just like, yeah. I just think there's other films that kind of do it more for me. But I feel like, yeah, like it's a sort of and then like people love it. It's an iconic performance. So I think if you can have best sort of Will Ferrell movies or performance on there, you kind of have to have Step Brothers, even though I'm not a huge fan. So I'll say yes, even though I'm not a fan.
Jordan, what do you say about Step Brothers?
Yeah, Step Brothers is an easy yes. That's like number 1 on my list. Like I love Step Brothers, and like I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel. I think they could still do it, but the thing that for me about Step Brothers that I love is that like uh, just the way that Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly just annoy the hell out of their parents, and especially John C. Reilly just cracks me up when he's like, are they talking about like what if the mom started hitting on him? He's like, and like he starts talking about his V of like pubic hair going down to his fro and all that stuff, and the dad just gets fed up. He's like, shut up. He's like, shut the fuck up! Shut up! Just shut your mouth! And you're like just good stuff. So yeah, Richard Jenkins. Yeah, it's a good or a great movie. So yeah, I'll say yes.
Yeah, I'm also not that big on Step Brothers. Once again, this is another one that ended up a little bit higher on my list than I thought it was, but but then again, it's probably because there's a lot of his Will Ferrell moves I'm actually not a big fan of. We'll get to those when they come up. So, but Step Brothers is making this list, and yeah. I'm not sure if Richie's near his phone. No, he's only on audio only, but it's Richie. It's up to you. But if you're not around, I'll go to Jordan. Then I'll come back.
I'm here. Sorry.
What is Jordan? Actually, JD, did I go to you for Step Brothers?
No, you didn't.
No. Yeah, you didn't go to me, but
yeah.
It's interesting because I'm more along the lines of Richie, and that I think it partly had to do with the fact it was it came after my kind of Will Ferrell phase as a teenager, so I didn't watch it till like way later, like after its run, and I thought it was fine. So I probably would have said no to make it interesting, but I knew it was going to make the list.
Yeah.
But now, Richie, we go to you for your first nomination.
All right. I'm gonna, I mean, we're gonna talk about all of it, like a lot of his comedic performances, which you should, because that's primarily what he does. But I'm gonna bring up one of his sort of more dramatic turns, and a movie that's really quite underrated. I still feel like Stranger Than Fiction. I think this movie is really good. I love the concept. Like the Queen Latifah is writing a sort of like autobiography on this dude's life who's actually living, and then he hears the narration in his head every time he goes to do something with it, like Emma Thompson, and he's great. Yeah, Emma Thompson's great. Queen Latifah's great, and then the dynamic between him and Maggie Gyllenhaal, I think, is great. So yeah, and I think it shows that he's got like sort of dramatic chops as well. So I do hope that one day he goes down that sort of route, because I mean, I love Will Ferrell, but as we'll discuss as this goes on, I do find him a bit jarring at times. So this is sort of him more subdued, and I kind of like that. So Stranger Than Fiction.
Jordan, what do you say about Stranger Than Fiction?
So I'll say yes for Stranger Than Fiction. I think Stranger Than Fiction is delightful. Like I think it's a really fun story of just someone narrating his life, but then he can hear it all of a sudden out of nowhere, and he thinks maybe he's going kind of crazy. So you have Emma Thompson doing the narration, but then you have Dustin Hoffman in there, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Queen Latifah, Tony Hale. So yeah, you got a pretty solid cast, and that's fun. Yeah, like I kind of hope we get to see more dramatic roles from Will Ferrell. So yeah, I'll say yes.
I will say, when Richie said underrated dramatic performance, I thought he was going a different way of it. But
yeah,
we'll get to that eventually. It's an easy yes for Stranger Than Fiction for me. Because I honestly haven't seen this in a while, but it's definitely been one that I actually wanted to rewatch for this. But this is still a easy yes for me. The first time I saw this, I really loved this movie. So yeah, JD, what do you say about Stranger Than Fiction?
So again, I probably would have said no to make things interesting, just because if you and me are talking about the same thing, I actually think the performance you're going to bring up is a true dramatic performance, and I think it's actually a better movie than Stranger Than Fiction. I think part of the problem is, again, it's a good movie, but it's again back after that initial phase, and I thought Stranger Than Fiction was probably way too hyped for me, so that probably has to play a role if like it's not as high for me. But again, I kind of knew it was going to come up, and it was probably going to make the list. So it is what it is.
And Brian, what do you say about Stranger Than Fiction?
I'll give it a yes. I find it quite surprising. It's a great dramatic performance, and it's one of JPL's favorite films as well. So if I would nominate, he would have been happy if he was on the episode for this one.
But that Stranger Than Fiction does make this list. And Jordan, we go back to you for your next nomination.
I got to go with one. Start out with a personal pick just to get a few of them out there. So like a couple, but but I want to go with Zoolander. I am a huge unapologetic Zoolander fan. Like from the very first time that I saw it, I just fell in love with this movie. Just all the the off the wall lines that he has, moisture is the essence of wetness, and wetness is the essence of beauty, and him just doing all the crazy modeling things, and then telling Hansel, he's like, I can dare lick my own balls, thank you very much, or especially with John Voight when he goes down in the mines and they're doing a little music montage, and then he's like, I think I got a kiss with the black lung, and then he's like, you're embarrassment, you're prancing up there on stage with your wiener hanging up for everyone to see, and it's just funny kind of seeing John Voight as his dad, even though Ben Stiller's own dad is actually in the movie in a different role. But yeah, so I'll nominate Zoolander. See what you guys think.
Yeah, I've said it many times. Zoolander sucks. It's a no for me. I'm not going to repeat myself. JD,
also-
what do you say about Zoolander?
Real quick, shout out to Magatu because he's the Will Ferrell role. He's the villain. I didn't even mention Will Ferrell's character in it. Yeah, Magatu's great as a villain. But anyways, go ahead.
I'm probably going to have to actually just remove myself from kind of the vote because it's one of the ones I've not seen all the way through. So I think to be I don't think I'm a fair judge. So I'm gonna renege from this one.
Yeah.
Brian, what do you say about Zoolander?
Todd, we're going to go down all day. Yes for me for Zoolander. One of my favorite, such a comedic role for Will Ferrell as this villainous fashion designer. Him as the when he's hypnotizing Ben Stiller's character as Little Cletus, it's so hilarious. So yes for me.
Playing Jacoby Mugatu. Yeah.
I think it actually comes down to Richie.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
Which hopefully he comes back soon. He's actually not here.
Okay. Yeah, he's having internet issues.
So maybe move on to your pick, and then Rich comes back, ask him maybe.
Yeah, that's what I will probably. I know he's here.
Okay.
Let's see if it works now.
But you know how this is going to go. It's come down to you. What do you say about Zoolander?
Okay. What? No pressure, because. All right. Yeah. Look.
Make the right choice.
I think it's one of his sort of early kind of sort of breakout roles here. Great. And yeah, look, like I watched it a couple of times. I'm not like the biggest fan. I just I think get a bit over the top, but I just think when you think of Will Ferrell performances, I think it's like a sort of the more sort of memorable one. So I'll say yes again. There'll be movies I like of it. There'll be movies I like eventually that I'll vote yes on. Yes.
Sounds good.
It's down to me. I'm going to try this. Like, this is one that admittedly, Will Ferrell only has a really small role in this, but I'm going to give it a shot as my first pick just because of what getting this out of the way first is the smarter thing. But I'm going to go Austin Powers Aspire Shave Me. Look,
yes.
Look, admittedly, like Will Ferrell's role in this is I can't remember his character's name honestly, but Mustafa,
Okay.
yeah, is really good. Just like as I said, he's only in it for that death set. Actually, no, for that one scene, sort of there, but it's still a really good scene. Well, I know a lot of people argue like, well, he's only a small role and you can't really count this as one of his movies. It's still a movie he was in. I'm going to bring it up, see what happens. And yeah. JD, what do you say about Austin Powers Aspire Shag Me?
This is actually going to be my next pick, actually. So here's the thing. Will Ferrell, yes, he's a lead. He's a leading man. That's one facet of his career. But even after he breaks out, he's just as likely to show up in a film for 5 to 10 minutes, do like a bit, drop the mic, and then disappear. And then despite that, no matter what, no matter how popular that movie is, you're still going to talk about the Will Ferrell bit. So I think, when we're talking about Will Ferrell and his filmography, you do have to talk about him being bit players in a bunch of movies. And I think this is the representation of memorable scene, memorable bit, does his thing, and then leaves. So I'm going to say yes.
Brian, what to say about Austin Powers' The Spy Who Shagged Me?
I'll give this one yes. If we're comparing between the two, first Austin Powers for Will Ferrell performance, I quite enjoy more the second one. You get more hilarious moments from him. Technically, you also hear him after the credits as well. It says, "Hello," and the credits still rolling. I'm still here, so I'll give it a sun yes for me.
And if that does make the list, Richie, what would you have said about Austin Powers'
Oh
The Spy Who
man,
Shagged
but
Me?
yeah, I am with the logic of like, yeah, it has to. I feel like Will Ferrell isn't in it enough to kind of make me go, oh, this is one of his better performances. Yeah, he's definitely. I love the Austin Powers franchise. I think he's good in his small role. Yeah, especially when he's like they think he's dead and he's still he's still like complaining from from the event. It is a funny scene. But when I think of Will Ferrell movie, I don't think this doesn't come to mind straight away. I sometimes I forget even though it's a funny scene, I have to remind myself he's in it. So yeah, like I know, like everything's on the table as far as if it's a small role or a big role, but I just feel like when you talk about Will Ferrell movies, I think it has to. I think he has to have more substantial part, in my opinion. So I would have said no.
Jordan, what would you have said about Austin
Yeah.
Powers' The Spy Who Shagged Me?
Well, so here's the thing for me is that like normally I wouldn't vote for someone when they don't have a very big role in the movie. They just have a very small role. But if the role, the little cameo or like little side character or whatever they're doing is memorable enough, then actually I would still count it, because they just come in there and they just do a banger of a scene. They're really hilarious. They're really great, or whatever. I still think that that's still worthy to be nominated. But however, though, I do kind of like Will Ferrell in the first one better, because when he gets shot, he's like, "You shot me right in the eye," and then he like falls down like some kind of pit when he like pulls the lever, and he's like, "Hello, I'm still down here, but I'm very badly burned." Like that, the whole thing just makes me laugh pretty hard, and so I like it better than the second one. So just because it's already going through, so I'll say no at this point, because I would probably go for the first one better, even though I like the Spy Who Shagged Me's overall movie better. I just like what Will Ferrell does in the first one better. So I guess I'll say no for this one.
So yeah, I was thinking of the first Austin Powers when I went on my drive. But yeah, that shows how much I remember Will Ferrell in the second one.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones, like when it comes to any actors, like as my logic is when I do these lists, like I always discount cameos, but like according to Wikipedia, this isn't counted as the cameo. So
yeah, he's more of a side character.
Yeah, it's a slightly bit longer part of than a cameo. But
I mean, they devote a whole sequence to him. Like it's like the whole first end act sequence. Like I just rewatched it for this.
Yeah.
Because I was debating between the first one and the second one. I think Austin Powers: The Spy Who Shagged Me is a better movie, but I agree that this first one's a better one. But I think they're both memorable roles, so I'm going to go with the better movie if it's close.
Same.
But with that being said, JD, we go to you anyway for your next nomination.
I'm actually tempted to go with since everybody loves that bit. I am tempted to say Austin International Man of Mystery. I'm not going to do it. I think there are other movies that like we can potentially do, and maybe somebody else will bring it up, and maybe we'll come back to it. But right now, I'm going to go. It was interesting when you said underrated when Richie was initially going underrated. Was it Richie or Brian? You said Stranger Than Fiction. Like
I did.
Yeah.
When Richie initially said underrated dramatic role, I thought he was going to say Everything Must Go. Everything Must Go is actually a true dramatic movie, and he takes his kind of Frank the Tank persona and like tweaks it, and it's this really heartfelt dramatic movie about a guy who's at a crossroads in his life. He's a severe alcoholic. He loses his job, his wife leaves him and has moved out of the house, and the only way he could kind of stay on the premises on his like former house is if he sells his all his items, and then it's like a sweet friendship between him and like his next door neighbor played by Rebecca Hall and like a kid, like a 13-year-old like African American kid. It's a very very underrated performance, and it's a very underrated movie of his that I'm surprised when I rewatched it, like how high it ranks up for me when it talks about movies of his.
Brian, what do you say about Everything Must Go?
Haven't seen it.
Richie, what do you say about Everything Must Go?
I have seen it. It's a neat little film. I just wouldn't know if I'd call it one of his better ones. It's fun. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's a good dramatic performance. Yeah, Will Ferrell plays a good, grumpy dude. Rebecca Hall's in it. And that kid, the 13-year-old African American, that's actually Biggie Smalls' son. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so yeah,
That's cool.
and yeah, no, it is a decent movie. I'm glad that you sort of brought it up because it's not like one that sort of you get talked about. And look, it's a good performance. I'm teetering. Just it is underrated. I am teetering.
Here's the thing: look at his other movies. We were getting to like the bottom of the list, and like
Yeah.
there's going to be a certain point where it's like his movies are varying degrees of, I don't think there are 12 good comedic movies. That's my that may be controversial thing to say, like where he's the lead.
Yeah.
Jordan, what do you say about Everything Must Go?
Well, this is one of the movies that was borderline for me. Like I really do like this movie. Like especially I love the relationship between him and the kid Kenny. Like he just sending Kenny around to do all these kind of just all the tasks for him, where he just sits there so no one steals his stuff that just sitting outside because basically his ex-wife, I think it's played by Laura Dern, but she just throws out all his stuff into the front yard, and then he kind of comes to the realization too that like possessions don't really define who a person is, and like does he really need all this stuff, and so he just decides to just do almost like a cleansing, kind of has like a spiritual / emotional kind of awakening thing, and decides to get rid of all this stuff. He also needs the money, and so I wasn't gonna bring it up, but I told myself that if somebody else did, I will say yes because it's right on the borderline. So I'll give it a yes. So,
Laura Dern wasn't ex-wife. Laura Dern was just Nick's high school friend.
okay. Well, whoever it was, yeah. Is it?
Well, I just looking at the small cast list on Wikipedia, it doesn't actually have some. Doesn't I don't think you don't never really see his ex-wife much anyway. But this is definitely the better Will Ferrell and Rebecca Hall collaboration because they're both in that stinker, which definitely hopefully won't come up.
Never know.
Hey, I'm not saying it. I don't want to manifest that into actuality.
You want to jinx it?
Because you said it, I'm going to say it now. No, I'm not.
But anyway, I saw this for the first time in preparation for this because I knew that this is likely going to come up. This is an amazing movie. It's an easy yes for me. So yeah. And with that, we go back to Brian. What is your next nomination?
I'm going to bring up The Other Guys. First collaboration between him and Mark Wahlberg. They have great chemistry. The comedy is great for Will Ferrell. His whole backstory with him as a pimp, and him and Marco reacts to Will Ferrell's wife to Eva Mendes for his married Eva Mendes for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun with this one. I love the performance by Will Ferrell in this one. The chemistry is great. I'll bring up The Other Guys.
Yeah.
Richie, what do you say about The Other Guys? Yeah, I would have brought this up next. Now I've got to scramble to see what I'm going to bring up. Now when it comes back to me. Yeah. So, I would say yes. I think it's a great. Yeah, that like Brian said, they got Mark Wahlberg and him have great chemistry. I think it's just a really really fun movie. I like the sort of the small parts of Samuel Jackson and The Rock. They're really
Yeah.
funny when they
Keith
jumping
David
they
Moss.
jump off the building and then they just eat it. It's hilarious. I like the dynamic that I like Eva Mendes' role in this. Probably one of her last roles before she kind of took a break for a while. Um, yeah, she's really fun. Yeah, and I think this movie is quite underrated, and I talk about it a lot. Steve Coogan's funny in this movie. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Keith
yeah, I
David
would say yes.
Moss.
Yeah.
Jordan, what do you say about the other guys?
Yeah, the other guys is great. Like it's really really funny. Like that even Mendez stuff where like Mark Wahlberg shows up and he's like so confused, like what? Like she's your wife? Like what? And like I don't get it. And then like she's just really really into him, even though like I don't know. Will Ferrell's pretty average looking, like by most standards, I'd say. Um, but yeah, and there's a lot of pretty hilarious stuff. I think that Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell, I would agree they have great chemistry because I have seen Mark Wahlberg where he does not have good chemistry with the person he's on screen with. But this one he actually really does. And then yeah, the Samuel Jackson and Dwayne Johnson stuff is some of the funniest in the movie. And then Michael Keaton's great as the captain, just being a real asshole to him. So yeah, I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah, when it comes to the other guys, I just don't want no scrubs in this list. But
No screw.
but the other guys is no scrub. It's good. I really do like this movie. And yeah, it's definitely it's an easy yes for me. So, and JD, what do you say about the other guys?
My vote's irrelevant, but I probably would have said no, just because controversial opinion. I'm not necessarily a fan of the Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg pairings. They're just not for me. Like comedy is subjective, right? Like comedy,
Yeah.
I think more than any other genre, it's truly like film genre. It's truly it either makes you laugh and it doesn't. It doesn't make me. Him and Will Ferrell don't really make me laugh, so it's just a personal thing. But I knew it was going to come up.
But with that, we do go to Richie. Richie, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
All right. I'll bring up. We talked about a movie that he had a small role in, but was memorable. I'll bring up another movie that he had a small role in, but was memorable, and that's Wedding Crashers. He plays a guy, I can't remember the character's name. It will come to me in a minute. But anyway, he crashes funerals, and it's really I think he has a really memorable part. Just a memorable part of the movie. Yeah, Meatloaf. I think that's really funny, and I've always wanted a spin-off called Funeral Crashes. But yeah. Chaz is his name. I just think it's not it's a small role, but like it's a very memorable role, and I thought I'd bring it up before I bring up more of his kind of well known, more sort of media main roles. So I'll try my luck for Wedding Crashers. It's one of my favorite movies as well. So.
So Jordan, what do you say about Wedding Crashers?
Yeah, like I'm a pretty big fan of Wedding Crashers. I think Will Ferrell's great in it. Like another one, yeah, that he just has a smaller role, but it's great, and it actually like adds a lot to the movie. Yeah, that like the meatloaf, like just like anytime Will Ferrell's screaming, like there's an SNL sketch where he's just yelling at people to get off the roof, like get off the shed, get off, and he's just like screaming at it, and like and yeah, I think that it's a fun time. They've been talking about a sequel to Wedding Crashers, and I may be one of the only ones that's like that interested in it. But I hope they bring Will Ferrell back for another small role. Like that'd be fun. So yeah, I'll say yes.
But yeah, I mean, look, for my personal list, like when I make my list on Letterboxd, I always leave off the movies the actor is not credited in. I just focus on the credited performances. He's not credited in Wedding Crashers. He actually isn't.
Was that his fault? I don't know.
I mean, I'm not saying it is his fault. I'm
Yeah.
just.
It's the agent's fault then.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it could have been his choice, but for whatever reason, he chose to be uncredited for this role. And I don't know why there's cases where actors decide to go uncredited for whatever reason. But I'm also not a big fan of Wedding Crashers. I've watched it a few times. Like I rewatched it for the Owen Wilson list we did early in the year. I mean, it's enjoyable, but it's still an easy no for me. So, JD, what do you say about Wedding Crashers?
Yeah, this is gonna be. I think this is gonna be. I'm probably gonna have some controversial opinions on this. When people are gonna say some like opinions are controversial, but here's the tragedy of it. I think his bit is great in the movie. Like his bit, I actually really like him as Chad. The problem is I don't like the movie, and it's top 12 Will Ferrell movies, so I have to like the movie in order to say it's is one of his top 12, and I don't. So as much as I love the bit,
You
I
like
don't
the
think
role?
it's so I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just as a quickly random thing that I decided to look up why some minutes ago uncredited in movies, and the one what came up on Google is because they make cameo appearances in a movie because it's to either to avoid spoiling the surprise or drawing too much attention to what is a minor but pivotal role. But Brian, I believe it falls on you because I think it's 2-2 at the moment. So what do you say about Wedding Crashers?
I'll give it a no. No, I rewatched the cameo. No, wasn't that? This was not that much, so I'll give it a no.
And that Wedding Crashers doesn't make this list, and we go to Jordan.
So I got to go with one more personal pick just to see what anyone thinks. This is one that like I grew up watching with one of my best friends, mostly because it was one of the few movies that he owned. He didn't own very many, but he owned this one. I'm gonna go with The Night at the Roxbury. Yeah, so I have a lot of fun with this. Just them trying to get into all these clubs. Another one kind of like where they're kind of playing like some man child, living with their parents. Kind of work like they're forced to work for the parents' business. They don't want to. They want to open their own nightclubs. So they're going around and doing all these pitches to executives and like do. Like say what you want. The song "Baby Don't Hurt Me" from the Roxbury and the like dance with doing the whole side head thing, like it is memorable and like I really like it. I mean, some people may, some people not, but like I've been at some dance clubs where maybe I requested that song because I was with me and a friend and we just wanted to go out there and dance and have a good time. But yeah, and like there's just so many funny moments. Like one of my favorites is when they're in the club and like Chris Kattan, he's like, "What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?" to like every girl, and then Will Ferrell's like, "Dude, you got to cool." He's like, "Sorry, man, I'm on hottie overload," and like just them, just like going after all these girls, and then like but they've never slept with the girl before. They're both virgins, and like how they try to navigate all of that kind of stuff, and I have a good time with it. But we'll see what you guys think.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of Warfield moves I haven't seen. And this is one people suggested they'll try to check out, but I just never got around to it. I haven't seen it. Right. JD, what do you say about A Night at the Roxbury?
See, this is going to be interesting. So everything that Jordan mentioned is part of the SNL skit that the movie is based on. And everything that they added to the movie, nobody really mentions. I think this is the perfect case of it works as a 5-minute bit, it does not work as a 90-minute movie. Like when I was hearing Jordan, I was like, okay, but which Night at the Roxbury bit is he talking about? Like to me, it was like everything he was describing was like I. I was like, but yeah, I see that in the SNL script. So yeah, no, I think it's the perfect case of it's not a good. It's a good skit, not a good 90-minute movie.
Brian,
There's
what you
always
say?
there's always the whole line where it's like we're going to achieve our dreams because we're sleeping when we have them, and the line makes no sense. But like it's just funny the way everyone's looking at him, like, "What are you talking about?" kind of thing. Like there's a few kind of just random. My sense of humor is very random, so the more random, the funnier. So it's got a lot of that, and also other great like the whole soundtrack. Listen to the soundtrack; it's a great '90s dance like mix. So yeah.
Brian, what do you say about Night at the Roxbury?
I'll give it a no. I found Will Ferrell voice in the film very annoying, so it's no for me.
And Richie, what would you have said about A Night at the Roxbury?
I mean, it was like it's one of the sort of first sort of breakout ones. I haven't seen it in a long time. Like when it sort of like I was thinking as a kid, I don't remember a lot of it. I guess in that sense, I would say no, but like I feel it's sort of unfair a bit because I had I rewatched it for this list, I may have I may have a different opinion. But I guess I would have said no.
But if that comes back to me, and honestly, I'm going to go for one that I'm surprised hasn't come up earlier. Honestly, it's Anchorman, the Legend of Ron Burgundy. Like this is my favorite Will Ferrell movie. Like this is probably up there when it comes to my top comedy movies actually. And this is just one that I really love. Like when it comes to just anything that Ron is saying and at any one time is just crazy. And even all the psychos like Brick Tamlin, Champ, Brian Fantana are all great. And then, I mean, the news battle is really a lot of fun as well. JD, what do you say about Anchorman?
Okay. This is a case where I'm going to go with my head as opposed to my heart because, while it's not necessarily my favorite Will Ferrell movie. There's no denying that it's a classic. There's no denying that it deserves a place on this list. So my personal feelings about it aside, and it is one of the films that really put Will Ferrell onto like between this and like Old School, like this is what really put Will Ferrell on the map as like a comedic leading star. And I just in good conscience, I can't leave it off, even though it's not one I'm a particular fan of. So I'll say yes.
Brian, what do you say about Anchorman?
I'll give it yes. It's been 128. One of my favorite. I love the cameo that appears film. I I am a man. I'm an anchor man. I love the comedic timing is great. Art has the late
Yeah.
great Fred Willers. The late great Fred Willers appears in this film, and I'll give it a yes.
Richie, what do you say about Anchorman?
Yeah, I mean, it had to be brought up eventually. It's one of his iconic roles. And he's fantastic in it. The Ron Burgundy podcast is great too. Like, you just couldn't see anyone playing that role. It took me a while to get into it. The first time I didn't really like it. The second time I got what the sort of hype was about. It's a really fun movie, and I think we have to have it. Anchorman's movie we have to have on this list, I think. So absolutely.
Jordan, what would you have said about Anchorman?
Yeah. But Sweet Odin's Raven, I gotta say yes. like he just has like every line in this movie, like he just so good. Like you stay class, San Diego, and then talking about San Diego, that means a whale's vagina in Latin or what whatever language. And then like who doesn't love some Yad's flute too? The whole scene where he's like like on the tables with Fred Armisen just doing the flute stuff, and then like the whole like beef between the other news channel, even the side characters. Like I really love Steve Carell, like Bricktown. Hey, where'd you get those pants? The toilet store, or just like just the most random lines. So yeah, like it's a classic. This one's like right there at the top of my list. And I don't think we'd be doing a Will Ferrell this justice without having Anchorman on there. So yeah, it's a yes.
But if that Anchorman makes the list, JD, we go back to you.
Another one I'm shocked has not come up yet. Like I was gonna make it a kind of my kind of role was kind of bring up like underrated or movies that weren't necessarily talked about, but I'm kind of shocked this one hasn't come up yet. Talladega Nights: The Ballad of Ricky Bobby. To me, there's just there's certain movies that hit you in like a certain place in time, and it's just when it hits you at that place in time, like it's there with you for like the rest of your life. Like Talladega Nights about Ricky Bobby, to me is like that. To me is the definitive. It's the first. I think it may be the first time that I have to check. I didn't check this before. I think it's the first time that John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell are paired together, and I just
Correct.
Shake and Bake is ingrained in my soul. There's so many great bits in this, like "Sweet Baby, Sweet Baby Jesus," and I'm on fire. I'm on fire, and then his radio chief is, "You're not on fire. You're not on fire." And this is also my.
Help me, Jesus. Help me, Tom Cruise. Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus, help me, Tom Cruise, help me, Oprah Winfrey. And this was also my introduction to Sacha Baron Cohen, and he's such a great swarmy kind of Formula One villain, and like the villain of the piece in this. He's so swarmy, and like I had not watched LEG, and then like a couple years later, Borat comes out, and then he's gonna break out as a movie star. Like he's so great in this too. Like I just to me, it's one of his definitive films.
Brian, what do you say about Talladega Nights?
Technically, this is second Sacha Baron Cohen, so before that was Madagascar. But for me, Talladega Nights, Shake and Bake is my name there. I'll give it a yes. The chemistry is great. The comedy is perfect, especially the whole play scene with the kids going against the grandfather. You get Jay Lynch as Ricky Bobby, Will Ferrell's mom in this film. Amy Adams, I believe it's her first film ever for this one. And yep, I'll give it a yes.
Richie, what do you say about Talladega Nights?
Yeah, I was going to bring this up. So yeah, absolutely. Sort of like I think it's the better pairing of Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. I think it works in every level. I love the chemistry. I love Sacha Baron Cohen as the villain. I think he's really great. And just the even the supporting cast like Michael Clark Duncan is really fun in this movie. I'd definitely say yes.
Jordan, what do you say about Talladega Nights?
Yeah, like this movie is so hilarious. Like you gotta learn to drive with fear, and there ain't nothing more goddamn frightening than driving with a live cougar in the car, or it's like him doing all like the like promotional stuff, like if you're not chewing Big Red, then fuck you, or like when you work on your mysterious lady part stuff, you should have the right tools too. So that's why you should use Packs, the official tampon of NASCAR. Just like there's so many great lines. Like I could quote that movie all day long, and yeah, it's.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Amy Adams' love interest in the movie.
Yes, she was.
I think so.
I was introduction to Amy Adams too, and like she's a couple years from like it's like there's so many people that are like just a couple years from like really blowing out. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, Sacha Baron Cohen. Like, I mean, he was kind of already there, but I mean, but he was great too. Yeah, but and then as kids too, just like come at me, and like they're like saying the crazy prayers and like going back and forth to the dinner table and all that. Like, that's good stuff. So yeah, I gotta say yes. Yeah.
Yeah, like for me, like I do enjoy Talladega Nights. And this would have been a slight yes for me. But I believe this was his first comedy set in the realm of sports. It started off a
Yeah.
big trend of him doing a lot of comedies with some sport.
Yeah.
I still think it's his best. Personal
But
opinion.
Yeah, same. I do too.
But with that, Brian, we go back to you for your next nomination.
I'm gonna see how this one goes. I'll bring up since we're almost in quiz season, I'll bring up Elf. A good quiz comedy with Will Ferrell as the lead. One of his biggest roles, I would say. The comedy in New York with James Caan and you get the love interest to Zoe Deschanel. I believe it's also her first role, I believe. So I'll try for Elf.
Richie, what do you say about Elf?
You know, hot take. I fucking hate this movie. I think this, you know, like I hate. I mean, you know, like I said, Will Ferrell gets jarring sometimes. He is no more. He hasn't been more jarring than in this movie. He is so annoying. I hate his character. I hate everybody in this movie. I like Zoe Deschanel's not good in this movie. It's just I don't get it. People are like, oh, it's the ultimate Christmas movie. There's so many better Christmas movies out there. I think this movie is just silly. It's annoying. I did not get what people liked about it. Look, I could be like, oh well, you know, I might not like it, but it's an iconic Will Ferrell performance, so you say yes. But I'm not going to here. I'm going to say no.
Jordan, what do you say about Elf?
Well, Richie, I have one thing to say to you. You sit on a throne of lies. Like
Exactly.
Elf is freaking great. Come on.
Here, go ahead.
The Cotton Ninny Muggins or like just the random things that he says. Like then I traveled through the 7 layers, the candy cane forest, past the sea of twirly, swirly gumdrops, and then I walked through the Lincoln Tunnel. Like when he leaves and he just like he leaves the family and then he just leaves a little note. So that's sorry I ruined your life, some crammed 11 cookies into the VCR and stuff. Like it's just like I mean, like this is like totally Will Ferrell's movie. I don't know if the movie would work without him. Maybe Ed Asner. Like he's pretty great playing Santa Claus and stuff. And I always forget the Papa Elf. Yeah, he's great too. Bob Newhart. Yeah, but yeah, like I feel like every time that I watch this, like I catch like either new lines or just like lines that I totally forgot about that like he's an angry elf or just like all these just different random lines that are just so good. So yeah, like it's one that like I don't know, like people in the community, like you really shouldn't feel guilty for the movies that you love, but it's like I meet so many people that just shit on this movie. I'm kind of like, I mean, but I really love it, so I'm gonna just like what I like. So yeah, Elf. I'm gonna say yes.
So yeah, I don't know how much of a hot take it is to say that you don't like Elf because it seems like there's a regular take at this point. I've heard a lot of people say they don't like Elf. I am one of those people that do not like Elf. You can call me a cotton-head mini Muggins all you like, but I've never it's one of those movies that I will hate watch at Christmas. Also, fun fact:
you still watch it though?
Fun fact: Will Ferrell was actually not going to be the original actor that was supposed to play Buddy and Elf. apparently the story and the script for this movie dates back to '93, and was written with someone else in mind. Do you know who that could have been?
Chris Farley.
I mean,
Was that Chris Farley?
Jim-
I think
Jim
No.
Carrey.
Jim
Jim
Carrey. That's all I
Carrey,
can think of. Yeah.
and Jim.
Yeah.
But apparently it was written with Jim Carrey in mind to play Buddy.
Mm.
That would have been an interesting movie.
Oh yeah. I mean, I probably might have liked it more if it was Jim Carrey, to be honest. But JD, what do you say about Elf?
I really hate that you did this to me, Malcolm. Like, I really, really, really hate that you did this to me. Because here's the thing: is somebody who is doesn't celebrate Christmas. I am one of those other holidays that's not Christmas. This is probably not a. This was not a film. It was on my screens it was on my like list of movies that you watch during the holiday season. So as a result, I'm gonna have to say no.
Oh,
Ah.
I'm not gonna have Elf. That's
At least I
makes
tried.
me sad.
So.
Yeah. All right. See you guys. It's been a fun episode. See you later. No.
Elf does not make this list.
Here's the thing.
Yay! I mean, oh,
That's why I said I hate you did this to me, Malcolm, because like it's just one of those things. It's one of those things.
technically, I did it to you too. If I said
Yeah.
yes, then you wouldn't have met.
And Malcolm.
Yeah.
But I will say though that I used to have as my voicemail, and people would call it and say, "Hi, buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color?" And it just like confuse the hell out of people. So yeah.
But anyway, with that, Richie, we go back to you. What is your next nomination?
Can I just get a recap? Like, how many spots have we got left?
We've got 3 spots left.
All right, I think you probably should. Yeah, I'll bring this movie out. Yeah, I mean, you referenced it before. It was also. I mean, I think JD referenced it before. It's one of like his. Another one of his in doing voice work. I'm gonna go Lego Movie. I think he's really good as a villain in Lego Movie, and that's I think it's I think it's a really good performance, and you don't I think just his he's not overbearing. I think that he's got great lines, and it's a great sort of dual role when you realize he's sort of just playing Lego with his kid, and I think it's I just think it's a fun role, and I think you can tell he's having a lot of fun doing it. So I'll go Lego Movie.
Jordan, what do you say about Lego Movie?
Yeah. So Lego Movie for me, because I'm going off my letterbox list that I made for Will Ferrell too, and like it kind of like flip flops between number 11 and number 12, but that's still we're doing top 12, so that does make the list for me, and so I will say yes, but I think that he's great as a person in business. That's just like a funny name and like just a pretty funny, memorable role, and then just being the man upstairs, just like playing Legos with his kids. I think it's fun, and so I'll say yes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like when it comes to Lego Movie, my favorite parts of it is the bits where you see Will Ferrell just playing Lego with his kid. It's just one of those real relatable things. But the Lego Movie is great though. Like you've got Mario playing Emmett. But
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Garfield.
I thought that was
Yep.
Garfield. Oh wait,
Yeah.
it's the same.
No, it's Star-Lord. Get it right, guys.
Yeah.
That's Owen.
I thought Bob Hoskins played Mario.
But anyway, well, to be fair, we don't know what his last name is going to be in this animated movie. They could still be
Mario Luigi.
Yeah, right. Mario Plumber.
And honestly, I do think it's actually canon in the games that his name is Mario. I'm not a big Mario games person, so I don't know that for fact. But I love the Lego Movie. It's an easy yes for me. JD, what do you say about the Lego Movie?
Oh, that was going to be my next pick, because here's the thing. Like, I think very few people could play President Business, especially with that. He's eventually going to be revealed as the man upstairs, and when after you watch that movie, knowing the twist, it adds so much to the movie. Like you need somebody who, number one, can play, can be very despicable, yet you still find him charming. You need somebody that you can like idolize, and the way you can idolize your dad, right? And even after it's revealed that like, President Business is not a good guy, like, the child disagrees with how his father is playing with his Legos, like, and he still wants to like get his father's approval, and that's why Emmett suggests that they need to follow the instructions, and that ends up working to a point. Because at the end of the day, even when we disagree with our parents, we still love our parents, and we still want we want to have that relationship with them. And I think when you watch it with the twist that this is actually a father and son movie, it just adds so much. So yeah, 100%. And very few people could sell it. So yeah.
And Brian, what would you have said about the Lego movie?
I would give it a slight note that I feel like to mention for Will Ferrell.
But with that, Metley does make this list, and Jordan, we go back to you.
Yeah, so I want to go with one that I'm actually surprised hasn't been brought up yet. So I want to go with the movie Old School. Like for me, that's where I was really first introduced to Will Ferrell in movies was an Old School. Like we're going streaking, like you're my boy, Old Blue, and just like him just being this older guy that wants to be a part of this fraternity for some reason or another, and yeah, and then there's just so many great lines, like especially all the old Blues stuff. Just ring the effing bell, you pansy! Just ring the fucking bell. And like him like doing the like wrestling match, and then like when he gets shot with like the tranquilizer, like you just took one right in the jugular, man. like yeah, like it's a fun time. So yeah, I'll vote for Old School.
Old School was going to be my next pick, but this is a really good movie. I think this is either the first or second Will Ferrell movie I ever saw. So I can't remember if I saw the Austin Powers movies before that, but I love Old School. It's good, like and Will Ferrell is great in this, and even the likes of Luke Wilson, Vince Vaughn, and all that, and it just work together great. But JD, what do you say about Old School?
It's a borderline for me. And it's partly to do with the fact it's not one I necessarily go back to. Like I think it's partly because of the time I saw it, I was young, like super young, so probably way younger than I should have been seeing that movie. So it didn't necessarily like hold that same kind of place for me. That being said, I think Will Ferrell is great in the movie, so I think I'd have to say yes based on Will Ferrell's performance in it. So yes.
Brian, what do you say about Old School?
I'm gonna give it a yes. It's not what I go back to for Will Ferrell, but I quite enjoy the performance of him, so I will give it a yes.
And Richie, what would you have said about Old School?
Yeah, I would have said, you would have said yes. I think it's like it's a good, it's good movie. It's probably like I'd say my first exposure to Will Ferrell was probably Night at the Roxbury, but the first exposure I remember more vividly is Old School, and yeah, he's really great in it, and I think it was sort of the start of his upward trajectory in his career. So yeah, I think you have to have. It's one of those ones I think you have to have when you're talking about Will Ferrell. So yeah, I would say yes.
But that we've got one spot left, and it's on me to nominate. I'm going to bring one of my personal favorites here. I feel I know what one person's going to say about this because it is a musical. I'm bringing up the producers. Look, while he's not a really big part in this, he's still a significant part of this movie. Like he plays the screenwriter, who writes it and then ends up actually starring in the movie. But um, he's just really good in this, and I think it's because of the producers is why that they decided to go with him for this the new movie that's coming out this week, Spirited, which is also a musical version of A Christmas Carol. And so yeah, and I just really love the producers like Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick. Are just great as the two leads in this, but I think Will Ferrell in this movie is just really good as well. But JD, what do you say about the producers?
Here's the thing: he has an impact role. Like he's not probably, if you look at his screen time, he's probably only like 10, 15 minutes. But it's another one of these roles where it's like he has like like he's in a few scenes. He does his thing, and he's great in it. And I agree. I love musicals. I'm a bashing musical fan, and while I prefer the producers, the original producers, the Mel Brooks, the movie that it's based on, there is no deny. It was another borderline for me, but I don't think. Yeah, I think they're like, because it's borderline. I'm going to say yes because I do think he's really good in it. So yes.
Brian, what do you say about the producers?
I'll give it yes. It's been 128 films. I love the performance by Will Ferrell. I probably enjoy his singing, and it's a yes for me.
And Richie, what would you have said about the producers because it's making this list?
Yeah, I'm not a massive musical guy, and yeah, this didn't. I mean, he was alright in it, but yeah, it just didn't do anything for me. So yeah, I'm like, I think me and Jordan are probably not the musical guys, so I would have said no. But you know what? It's not like offensively bad or anything, so it's fine.
Jordan, what would you have said about the producers?
Well, I'm absolutely not a musicals guy. There maybe can name like 10 musicals of all time that I actually enjoy. Beyond that, I just don't like musicals. And so I actually haven't seen the producers though, but it's because like I really don't want to see it because I have seen bits and pieces of the original, and even that kind of like bored me kind of, and so like this one, it just has no interest in me. Out of my list on Letterboxd, out of 42 Will Ferrell movies, I have it ranked at number 41. So if that tells you anything. So yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and for any of those who may try to argue, it's like, oh, he's only a small part in it. He is actually on the poster of the producers. So
yeah. On the poster, yeah.
I don't think he's a small role. I think he has a significant role, but it's like splintered throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, it's like the actual director of the thing, like they come in.
Yes, he plays like the screenplay, one of the original director of like this, of like the book that they are going to produce.
Yeah. I mean, it's as I said, it's just one of those ones. Like I just know you just know you'll get someone's like but that being said,
but we'll say just real quick that like even though I'm not a musical fan, we did do an episode of musicals on Ranker Fights, and JD was actually on the episode for that one, so I am willing to still give him a shot.
I remember him on that one. If I remember correctly.
You were on that one, weren't you, JD? I'm pretty sure that you were on for one of the musicals. I think we did 2 parts. We broke it into 2, but it was a long time ago. It was like literally like a year and a half ago.
Yeah,
I was about to say that's definitely before my time.
Yeah. Yep.
Before Richie's time too.
Yep. Before most people's.
But with that, we have hit the trail for the shortlist. Just to recap what's on the strip, we've got Megamind, Step Brothers, Stranger in Fiction, Zoolander, Austin Powers, Spyro Shag Me, Everything Must Go, The Other Guys, Anchorman, Talladega Nights, Lego Movie, Old School, and the Producers. Now it's time to rank these.
What about all mentions?
I'm getting there, Brian. Give me a chance. We'll get to we'll do honorable mentions. Richie, do you have any honorable mentions?
Cool, you came in first. I got a few. So people probably forget that he's in the Thin Red Line. Brett Wall movie.
Really? He is.
Really?
Wow.
He's a good small part in Jane Silent Bob Strike Back. Blades of Glory, Semi-Pro. Daddy's Home, the first one I didn't mind, to be honest. Lego Movie 2. And I mean, Between Two Ferns, the movie he's in. And Practical Jokers, the movie he's a cameo in. That's sort of my kind of thing. I mean, The House is all right. I didn't mind The House, and other people didn't like it. I thought it was right. Oh, and also Casa de Mi Padre. My Padre.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
It's a unique movie. So, those are the ones.
Jordan, what honorable mentions do you have?
Well, there's one that I was maybe going to try to fight for, but I just didn't really think it would stand a chance. I really like Blades of Glory. Like, we danced to one song and one song only, Humps by the Black Eyed Peas. So, and I'm also a John Heater fan, if you know me. But and then let's see. I mean, I would have shouted out Semi-Pro. I think Semi-Pro is pretty funny. Like, it's not one of my like top ones, but for an honorable mention, sure. And even the second Anchorman movie, it's nowhere near as good as the first one. But when you bring in Will Smith and some of those other guys just like doing crazy things in that big fight, that's pretty memorable. And then also like I don't really like the movie overall, but the Internship, I think he has a pretty funny cameo in though. He's just playing the boss from like,
playing the guy at the mattress store.
Yeah, and like he's like trying to hit on all the hot chicks and like get all the sales from them. It's like if you lie on your back and you really arch your back, you'll see the great lumbar support here. So yeah, those would be my honorable mentions.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, if for whatever reason the first Anchorman didn't get in, I would have tried fighting for the Anchorman 2. But look, it might be a guilty pleasure, but I actually don't hate Bewitched. I do think Bewitched is a good movie. Melinda and Melinda, I think, is quite fun. And
Melinda was actually shockingly not bad. I can't defend.
I'm forgetting all these movies, man. I didn't even make my letterbox.
And one very dishonorable mention: Holmes and Watson. May that lie in a dumpster fire.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah,
true story. Like if it had gone to me, I was going to say, I'm going to choose Holmes and Watson. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I will say one thing I forgot. One thing I forgot that I'll probably bring up honorable mention is The Campaign. That's all right. That's an all right movie.
Anyway, JD, what honorable mentions do you have?
Funny you mentioned The Campaign. That's definitely in my honorable mentions. I think that's an underrated. Well, I really enjoy him and Zach Galifianakis going at it for 2 hours. I feel like that movie's a lot of fun. And John Lithgow and Dan Aykroyd is like the two lobbyists villains. I feel like they come in and have a lot of fun with it. I have a lot of fun with that movie. Other ones I would have mentioned Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. I actually think that's still, in controversial opinion, I still think that's probably the best of the trilogy. Maybe.
I mean, it's a hot take, because objectively, number 2 is the better one. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I think Austin Powers has a way better arc in 1. Like his arc from like being a swinging 60s bachelor to understand, like being thrown into like the late 90s and settling down and like that's the new kind of norm, and that goes against everything that the 60s stood for. It's an interesting, but he finds like some peace and kind of managed to evolve. I find that fascinating. So, and I do think the Will Ferrell bit in that is a better bit. So those would be the two I'd probably bring up as my honorable mentions. Is campaign
And Brian, what honorable mentions do you have?
I had Anchorman 2 as well. I have Kiki streaming on there. I quite enjoyed that one. Semi Pro, The Campaign, Jason Ball Straight Back, Bewitched, There's Glory, Land of Lost, Curious George, the two Daddy's Home films. They're quite good pleasure of mine. And another good pleasure of mine, Get Hard with Kevin Hart.
Okay.
But that going again to the voting. And for me, for number 12 is Zoolander. JD.
The other guys.
Brian.
All the ones I see that I haven't seen that everything must go.
Richie.
I'll go the producers.
Jordan.
And you know where I'm going? The producers. Wow, I only had to do it once. I'm shocked.
But is that time to move on to number 11? JD, what do you have?
Zoolander.
Brian.
Lego Movie.
Richie.
Oh man. Yeah, it's hard. I should probably. I'm gonna buy board up, so I'll just throw out. Oh man. And I'll go Zoolander as well, actually.
Jordan.
I have Megamind.
Sticking with Zoolander.
Guys are breaking my heart. At least it made the list, though, so that's good.
Richie, what do you have for 10?
Just because I'm not as big of a fan of it as anyone else, I'll go Step Brothers.
Ooh,
Jordan.
I have Megamind still.
Just because he is only a small role in it, I went Austin Powers by Shag Me. JD.
The other guys.
And Brian.
Lego Movie.
I think we all 5 have a different pick.
Yeah, I think so. And what do we do if there's one in the chat?
I'm going to switch my pick to.
I can switch my. Yeah, I was going to switch my. Yeah, anyway, I forgot that Spy Shag Me was on the board.
I can switch mine to Spy Shag Me too.
I was going to switch to your pick, Richie. I was going to switch. I was going to switch to your pick. Are you sure you want to do that?
So who's switching?
Okay. Look, dude.
Let's switch to Spy Shag Me.
Yeah, look. I'll switch. Spy Shag Me.
Same. I'll switch too. It's a minor role. And also, Step Brothers deserves better. Come on.
I agree.
Way better.
I mean, I was going to go to do the real anyway for the 5-way tie, but because people wanted to switch, that was going to allow it.
Okay.
I was going to switch to Step Brothers too.
Step Brothers 2 hasn't been made yet. So
All the remake.
That's a good joke. Good joke.
But it should be. It should be made. Oh, come on.
But Jordan, what do you have for 9?
I'm going to stick with Megamind.
And I went with the other guys, JD,
Darn it, I went with Step Brothers, but that's probably
Brian,
Lego Movie.
Butchie.
I'll go Step Brothers here.
Oh,
Going to be Step
man.
Brothers.
Anarchy.
Step Brothers at number 9. You guys are out of your mind. Out of your mind.
That is Anarchy.
Hey, it made the poll. It made the poll. That's all.
Yeah, yeah.
But let me move on to 8. JD, what do you have for 8?
I went back to my first choice for number 12, the other guys.
Brian,
My vote for Richie. I put Lego Movie.
Richie,
I'll say Megamind here.
Jordan.
Oh man, I switched my vote because no one was agreeing, so I got Lego Movie.
And I went for the other guys. So, Richie, the other guys or Lego Movie?
Other guys.
Alright.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But Brian, what do you have for 7?
Still sticking with Lego Movie.
Richie,
I'll go Megamind.
Jordan.
I switched back to Mega Man.
I went to Talladega Nights. JD.
Wow.
Stranger Than Fiction.
Oof.
But Megamind is going to be 7.
All right.
What am I doing?
Can you just recap what we got left?
Yep. Just one side. So we've got Stranger Than Fiction, Everything Must Go, Anchorman, Talladega Nights, Lego Movie, and Old School.
All right, I know what I'm going.
But Richie, what do you have for 6?
Everything Must Go.
Jordan,
I have the Lego Movie.
I have Talladega Nights. JD,
Stranger Than Fiction.
Brian,
Lego Movie.
Lego Movie is going to be 6.
Lego Movie. Okay. Lego Movie. That's getting tough.
But Jordan, what do you have for 5?
I have Everything Must Go.
Talladega Nights. JD,
Stranger Than Fiction.
Brian.
Old School.
What was that, sorry?
Old School.
Old School. Richie,
Everything Must Go.
Everything Must Go is going to be 5.
All
I'm
right.
surprised it got that high. I'm kind of shocked it got that.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty decent. Yeah.
I think it's one of to me. It's up there for me. I think it's one of the most underrated movies.
Dark Horse.
Right, so we've got Stranger Than Fiction, Anchorman, Talladega Nights on Old School left. For 4, I've still got Talladega Nights. JD,
Still got Stranger Than Fiction.
Brian,
Still Old School.
Richie,
Old School.
Jordan.
I forgot.
Changes.
I'm going with Old School.
Old School is going to be 4.
So what's the 3? Stranger Than Fiction, Talladega Nights, and which one?
Anchorman, Talladega Nights, and Stranger Than Fiction.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
And funnily enough, Old School is where it's landed on my personal Will Ferrell list.
Nice.
But JD, what do you have for number 3?
Shocker, Stranger Than Fiction.
No
Brian,
way.
Still Stranger Than Fiction.
Richie,
I got Talladega Nights. Yeah.
Jordan,
It is Stranger Than Fiction.
Talladega Nights, but Strange Than Fiction is going to be 3.
Ooh.
So
And
are we gonna
there
write?
we go.
If we're gonna write the one, what we would have as our
Yep.
one.
Yes, we go
Yep.
straight to number 1.
Okay.
So what's it between?
Anchorman
Talladega
and
Nights
Talladega
and
Nights.
Mhm.
I was almost accidentally going to write Stranger Things, and I'm pretty sure it was not in that.
No.
And it's not even a movie.
No. Maybe someday.
If they make one.
Yeah.
Brian, what do you have for number 1?
So what you need, and that's Aquaman.
Richie,
Anchorman.
Jordan,
For number 1, I felt like it deserved the whole title, fully written out. Anchorman: The Legend of Ron Burgundy.
also in Anchorman, JD.
I'm the sole vote for Talladega Nights, the Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
Ooh. Yeah.
I don't care.
Both have some subtitle.
It's
Title.
a hot take, but that's the one.
All right.
With that, I'm going to recap our top 12 Wolfram movies. At number 12, we've got The Producers. At 11, we've got Zoolander. At 10, we got Austin Powers Spy Shag Me. At 9, we got Step Brothers.
Should be higher.
I agree.
At 8, we got The Other Guys. At 7, we got Megamind. At 6, we got The Lego Movie. At 5, we've got Everything Must Go. At 4, we got Old School. At 3, we got Strange Than Fiction. At 2, we got Talladega Nights, Ballad of Ricky Bobby. At 1, we got Anchorman.
Legend of Ron Burgundy.
Yeah, The Legend of Ron Burgundy. Nice. Sounds good, guys. There we go.
Yeah.
And
Give
also
Will Ferrell a
at,
round of applause.
at negative 100, we've got Holmes and Watson.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, that one stinks.
And not far behind that, we've got the Eurovision movie that I never brought up.
Yeah.
Sorry, Eurovision is good, actually.
Oh,
It's
no.
not too bad.
I mean,
I like
It's-
that movie.
Holmes and Watson is the worst one of Wolfram movie, but
Well, for negative
Eurovision
100,
is.
you bring up his-
I
his camera-
enjoyed a little bit more.
Worse than Bewitched, though.
Which is pretty good though. I quite enjoy that one.
Oh, it's fine. But at negative 100, you remember Cameron in the movie Dick. He was in that, like being some random reporter guy.
But
Or Superstar.
Yeah.
but with that being said, that's the end of ranking for this week. Next week, I believe it is going to be 2000 dramas, but I'll just double check.
I think that won the poll because I 52 last time I checked. 52.
Yeah, that's drama moves of the 2000s is going to be next week.
There we go.
And also talking about actually JD, where can people find you online?
You can find me at JD Domash on Twitter for the time being. And all the social medias for the time being. I occasionally do trivia stuff. I occasionally PR on other people's shows. Be on the lookout.
Brian, where can people find you online?
You can find me compete in different trivia spaces. I compete at JPO's League, being Richie most of the time.
Oh,
Tomorrow,
why?
tomorrow,
I've been nothing but nice to you, and you still just fucking needle
well,
it in.
you do,
She
but
likes
Anyway,
to
that's fine.
trash
don't
talk.
get funny.
Well, tomorrow I'm filming my second round 2 matchup against Antonio Chavez and JPO's tournament. I'm
Nice.
currently in the Disney Pixar tournament. I was like how I compete sometimes on FC Trivia to do a pickle. Sometimes on here, sometimes on Movie Hero. Last time I was on Thursday doing my part 2 128. I
Yeah.
think next time I'll be on my championship. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, I think so. Like
Yeah,
early December. Yeah.
yeah, that's really for me.
Richie, where can people find you online?
Yeah, you can find me. I'm on Rankum sometimes. I'm also on the Movie Hero Network, Jordan's channel, doing tournament fights and tier ranker. Not sure when my next one is. I signed up for heaps, but I'm sure Jordan will let me know.
Yeah.
And um, yeah, and then like I I'm in a wrestling trivia league at the moment. Combat wrestling trivia, doing the Clash of Combatants tournament. Like, not to toot my own home, doing pretty well. I think I'm third in my sort of bracket there. So that should be fun. We're having a week off. Next week, I think I'm versing this guy named Andrew the Dude Hayes. He's pretty good. So keep an eye for that. It'll be on Chris Cass's Twitch channel. And you can find me on. I do a podcast with my friend Robert Cameron, all about Tubi, called "Tell 'Em They're Streaming," which is a play on the a line in a famous Australian movie called The Castle. And yeah, we just uploaded, even though it's not really Tubi-rific, it's very 80s cheese. We're going to upload on Tuesday. Actually, we're going to upload on Tuesday the Eric Roberts classic movie Best of the Best, which is not like, usually we'll review like So Bad They're Good films. This is just a good film, so I mean, but it's still fun. It's still fun to talk about. Um, uh, I mean, like, on the next episode we're recording is about the classic Asylum film, Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus, starring Debbie Gibson and Lorenzo Lamas. So
Yes.
that'll be fun.
That's cool.
I'm looking forward to that. That's gonna be stupid. Other than that, yeah, you can find me on like JPO's channel doing a lot of various trivia stuff. And yeah, I'm also going to be on Battle. I got a match coming up on Battleground the next week or so, in a couple of weeks.
Who are you
Versus
facing?
Jake Tato. It should be
Okay,
fun.
okay.
Nice.
Him and I have good chemistry, so it should be a fun match. And then I don't know. Other than that, I'm around. I think I'm going to be in the multiplex tournament next year, so catch up for that. But yeah, all good.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Nice.
But Jordan, where can people find you online?
You can find me on all the socials at Movie Hero 2121. You can find me in the Schmodown Friends and Family group. I run that group over on Facebook, and that's probably where we're the most active. So you can find all the updates for the Movie Hero Network, mostly there, but on all of our socials. We also have a Patreon. I won't go into it, but we have a ton of exclusive stuff there. Just go to patreon.com/moviehero. And it really helps us out. We appreciate it. And then I'm trying to put up some more Snack Hero reviews. I have a promo video that's pretty cool. That's already live on the Movie Hero Network YouTube channel that you can watch, where I spread out all the snacks that I have. And actually, I picked up a couple more today, even. But the snacks literally fill up my entire countertop in my kitchen. So there's a lot. But
What weird food you want to eat next?
yeah, I haven't really decided yet. But it's probably gonna be like one of the new ice creams I got. I found a bunch of off the wall ice creams, and then maybe the new Mountain Dew. I really want to try the Fruit Quake one that came out. So some of those. And I got some weird flavored chips too. I might do that. But and then just a little preview of a couple of things. I'll just do a shorter preview. You'll get a longer one if you tune in to tournament fights or team rankers. But all next week we're doing best moves of 2018, and Malcolm was nice enough to put together the brackets for that, so he'll actually be running the brackets for at least the first 2 episodes, and I'll take care of the championship. We had to go later because we're gonna have Chance Ellison on for we're gonna have him on for all 3 episodes, but he forgot he has his own show that he does on his own YouTube channel on Tuesdays, so he has to go do that. But and then on Monday night we also have Paul Preston on. We were going to have Moose Haas also from the Schwartz, but he had to switch. So we have him on Friday for our another episode Friday that's going to be our movie franchises episode. So it's any movie franchises with 3 or more in it. We already did a part 1 and a part 2. So the top 16 from each of those episodes will be in the championship for a half bracket of 32.
So every day this week that you're going live.
Every day except Thursday. That'd be the only day. Because I need one day off to like breathe. But and let me see. Oh, and then I want to shout out this because this upcoming Monday we're going to be doing something fun on our Patreon. We're doing best wrestling intro theme song.
I am on that.
Music, yeah, and Richie will be on for that one, and over there we're really hoping that we're not going to get any Patreon, any a copyright violation on Patreon. I don't think you usually do, but it's going to be our test because we're going to just play them all, so you'll be able to hear all the theme songs, everything. So that should be a fun time. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
But yeah, you can find me on Take 3 where I host Rank 'em each week. We'll be back next week for top 12 dramas of 2000s. Whether or not it's going to be Saturday or Sunday, I haven't decided yet. There's a possibility we may be moving to Sunday's Premier League, just because I want to.
Yeah, sure.
But also, as Jordan said this week, I'm going to be running the brackets for the 2018 tournament. Talking about 2018, this movie's not going to be in that tournament.
No, we left that out.
Well, it was involved in the poll that we put up. No one voted for it anyway.
Oh, yeah, that is true.
But there will be a bunch of other great ones there. And I found some cool posters for some of them as well. So that's all happening this week. And you can find me all over the place. I'm on Formula Battlegrounds, all that usual stuff. And yeah, but until next time, keep listening, shit, as I find something to go out on.
I'm a nerd.
Okay.